my secrets, nothing more. I checked the drawers, I checked the spikes, left me hanging in my Nikes. Last night we tore up the town, now my wallet's not around. Call the cops or play it smooth, pay my debts and start anew. Hey, hey, where'd it go? My cash, my cars, my flow. Don't you know what's gone? Now I'm broke from dusk till dawn. Dancing lights and screaming bass. Drinks were flowing in that place. Left a tip but lost my grip. Now my wallet's gonna slip.
In a world where financial advice is as blurry as a wild night of cheap Jell-O shots, clear your head and your monetary halitosis with the About That Wallet Show hosted by Anthony Weaver. Leave those Jell-O shots for the amateurs and learn to indulge in the top shelf bottles, baby. Now, here's your host, Anthony Weaver.
What up, everybody? Hopefully, y'all are having a wonderful time this Friday Eve. Man, I can tell you that it's been a while since I've been on this live, and I have to say that I've been busy, and times have been busy, so much so that, how can I say, we got a lot to deal with, okay? In the sense that I've been at 2 conferences back-to-back weekends and actually purchased a camera, so I started a whole camera business as well. I'm just trying to maintain it just like everybody else out here, okay? And granted, yes, I did a podcast. No, I have yet to put the camera connected to the feed so y'all can see me and all that fun stuff, utilizing the camera and the cool lens and all that fun stuff. Right now, I just don't have the time to kind of set it up. I could set it up, but it's not that serious. But I just want to come on here. It's been a while since I chat with you all. How have you been? Where y'all listening from? What's going on in the world today? And as y'all see, I got my out of office t-shirt. Pretty much you getting paid to do nothing. Actually, not even getting paid. You're just showing up. You show up to work to not get paid. And then I feel bad for a lot of the federal employees that are out there right now who are going through a lot. And first off, I have to say thank you for the people who are going to work and still maintaining, the safety of the American people, especially when it comes to the flights, the trafficking, dealing with the day-to-day activities of the life that we have here in the U.S. And for those of you who are listening from outside the U.S., I mean, I just want to say thank you for chiming in. One of the things that we have multiple questions about, it really needs to end very soon. And I cannot, oh, hey. What's going on? Thank you for making it. You had by the way, for those of you who don't know, Wanda actually just threw a really amazing webinar talking about services and so forth, about really understanding your finances, getting to know what budgeting that you have to get done, how is it that you're in the situation that you're in now, and also what strategies that helped her to get out of that. And it was really cool to see more about her story. And even if you haven't watched the webinar and just want to know about her story, please check out her episode on the show. It's actually surprisingly that we actually got nominated because of that episode. So the podcast got nominated. I submitted her episode as one of the episodes for the Black Podcast Awards. Even though we did not win, one of the things is that I did resubmit it for there is a podcast called the Podcast Academy. I want to say that's what it's called. But because I was able to be utilize it the first time, I actually went on and applied for the second time around to see if it would actually work through with that podcast, as I'm trying to be submitted as the interviewing podcast. So I'm trying to submit as the best interviewer. Now, understanding that finances is one of the main things that we deal with, another thing is actually trying to figure out how in the world can we improve our financial situation. So that's what kind of got me thinking about, so what is the things that people are worried about right now. So looking at the local news, just around the world news that's happening right now, and I actually looked at, I like this news article through WTOP. And so just kind of dive right into what's happening around the world, which is that, well, not around the world, in the US. We're going to say that the US home sales have accelerated in September to their fastest pace since February as mortgage rates eased. So even though financially a lot of people are hurting, the home prices are still accelerating. You got to really try to make that make sense. I'm not sure what that is. They're saying that the average long-term U.S. mortgage rates dropped to 6.19%, lowest level it's been more than a year. Now you also got Union Pacific reports that 70% profits of its seat as a CEO, the case for Norfolk Southern merger. So you got to think about, you got two oil industries actually merging. So that's going to be really interesting to come about, that we got to think about. And then we also have healthcare. Healthcare compromise appears far off as the government shutdown stalemate persists. So that is another big thing to kind of keep in mind, that during the shutdown, a lot of things are going to start becoming more impactful. Right now, you got to think about it. A lot of people are losing their houses, so they have to sell. A lot of people are trying to figure out what are their next steps. How can they actually improve on their situation, and what can they do next? And that's the reason why I kind of put this show together, and the reason why I try to answer some of those questions to help people out in such a way. Now, let's see if I can try to people. Let's kind of make this work here, because we have a lot. Well, I have a lot, but somewhat a lot to talk about. Because one of the things is that about going live, I would say, during this time frame, is that we have a lot to deal with emotionally. I mean, let's think about it. You know, sometimes you got the kids. Some of you got kids in school. Some of you have parents who are at your begging call. Some of you even have your spouses who don't work, but you're working because you don't work for the government, and you have to deal with what they're emotionally dealing with and trying to figure out what is best for the family. And you might just be the breadwinner for the household, that you never been in that situation before, and you actually getting side-eyed by your partner because of the money and things that you're bringing in, and now you get to kind of call the shots. So there's a lot of things that are going on right now, and a lot of uncertainty that we just don't know how things going to turn out. And so we have to think about it. What is it that's causing some of this stress? Is it because your emergency fund wasn't there? Is it because you did not save enough when, we've been talking about it for years on years? This isn't the first government shutdown, though they might be the longest one that we've dealing with. But also we got to think about what are these things to kind of help us get through the situation that we're in right now. One of the ways to kind of push through that is to focus on what is on our plate right now. That's number one. You got to see what is in front of you. I want you to take a moment If it's an hour to 2 hours, if you're furloughed, you got nothing else to do it. If the person that your spouse, they are furloughed and they home, and you're the person that's watching this show that has a furloughed person, have that person sit down, come up with the plan. So when you get off work, you can sit down with them and really talk through what is the plan for the family household. How are you going to take care of the kids when they go back and forth to daycare? How are you going to take care of the kids when they're going back and forth to school, after school programs? Are you going to cancel those programs? What does Amazon look like? Are you going to continue on to pay for Amazon Prime? Are you getting rid of other subscriptions as the holidays roll around? If you say, hey, we can't do Christmas like we normally do because we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know what are the predictions of what the government is planning to do. And this is the reason why it's very important. So, man, it's so heavy. I'm sorry, guys, but I mean, I know we're here for laughter. We have a good time, but I really got to talk about the heavy stuff in the room because this is crazy. So keep in mind, I might start drinking early. Don't judge me. But what I'm having today, matter of fact, let me play the music because some of y'all, I don't know. Let's go on and play some music, and then we can get into some more of this because, like I said, the heavy stuff. Let's go on. We knocked that out the way. Let's go on and have some fun. We're gonna start talking about the 3 questions to kind of just get this thing going. All right, hold tight. All right, so let me get my little. Gotta get pumped up for this. You know what I'm saying? All right, so what we having today, and I'm gonna have to thank another podcaster for this, is that we're gonna have Jose Cuervo margaritas. Since it's already pre-mixed with alcohol, I'm gonna go on and throw in a little bit of Canada Dry, get a little bubbly to it. Use some crushed ice. And luckily this mason jar can take the whole thing. No pun intended. And we're gonna top it off with a little bubbly. A little bit of Canada Dry. So with that being said, cheers. All right. Okay. So we got that out the way. Got our drink. Cool. Little festivities. Now that we got our drink, and let me know what you guys are drinking anyway. I'm still open to have another drink. By all means. I even thank you to another podcaster. A great thank you. We got another thing of this is Reposado tequila. So we're gonna have some of this a little later. What I'm gonna mix that with, I might just do another Canada Dry. I gotta finish this 20 ounce. Going on to finish out with some ginger ale. Ginger ale and tequila. Can't go wrong. I did bring some triple sec just to kind of make sure it kind of gives in a little bit of sweetness in there, just to kind of offset the punch of the tequila, so we can make that work out. So y'all be like, Anthony, how you afford to drink when we in a crisis? Well, I'm glad you asked. I make it work. Okay, it's part of my budget. I just had this conversation. My budget is 40% food. And this is part of the food budget. Cheers. So now let's get back to these questions. All right. Now we got to realize that the sandwich generation, for those of you who don't know, the sandwich generation are people who take care of their kids and also caretakers for their parents. Now we have to think about it. Okay, what is the number one thing that everybody is focusing on right now that's part of the sandwich generation? The main question, number one question is, how can I manage my financial strain of supporting 2 generations? So that's a whole podcast on its own. Like that's the whole show. Actually, not even the whole show. That's a whole podcast. Like when you really think about it. But that's where we come here today to kind of learn more about that. So you got to think about it. You balancing the cost of childcare. You got college tuition. You got retirement planning, and you have elder care, all in one swoop. While you're also dealing with the furlough, and you also got to deal with your coworkers who complaining every day in your ear about stuff. And then you got your aunts and uncles, your family members talking in your other ear about stuff. You don't want to shut them out because you might miss something that's important. So that is actually something that could actually lead to significant stress and even debt because you're trying to, hey, pay this person, get them out my ear. Pay this person to leave away. You paying somebody else's debt. You didn't set your boundaries. You're sitting here trying to pay for your kids' field trips, and you're trying to pay for your elder care to go to the hospital or emergency flights that you have to do to go to another state or a train ride or even a rent a car to drive about 3 hours just to make it there in time. These are the things that can actually cause you to go into debt. And granted, you could be like, hey, Anthony, I've been doing my emergency fund. I've been doing what you said, listening to your show, listening to the other experts that you have on your show about paying myself first and putting down, making sure I got 3 months worth of savings set aside, eating healthy, trying to stay healthy inside the household. And yet you could still find yourself in debt because when things happen, life happens, and you can actually get pulled down by the stress and the weight of it all. So the next thing you got to look into is actually trying to figure out, like you're trying to figure out what options or programs that can really help you offset some of those major expenses, or even just help prioritize your financial needs for both the kids and the parents. And by doing so, some of those programs that we talked about this a couple weeks ago is that you can actually look at your local state to try to figure that out. One of the things that I did have and I do have on my website, if you go to aboutthatwallet.com/shop, or you just go to aboutthatwallet.com and scroll down to the bottom, I have something called a simple budget calendar. And with that calendar, it helps you, it's a downloadable PDF, so you can start today. You print that out and you can actually write down all of your debts, see it right then and there, and actually start tracking your debt today. That is one of the major things that can kind of help you prioritize your finances, prioritize your wants, and also the needs of the family. That is the number one thing. You got to put your blinders on. Number two, which is how do I prevent caregiver burnout and managing emotional stress? We tend to want to love on our parents. We want to make sure that they are successful. We want to make sure that they have what they need. But having that understanding of, hey, I don't know what the next steps are for caregiving of my parent, or even my loved one. It could just be like a step parent. One of the things you want to look into is how to create a safe space, a psychological safe space, so you can actually decompress, slow down your anxiety, and just try to calm your physical as well, because that could be very physical exhausting. Trying to, you got to physically be there, lift them up, put them down, running back and forth to either to the grocery store or drive somewhere. You got to keep going back and forth to the refrigerator and whatnot. That's a full workout. But sometimes if you haven't worked out enough and this isn't part of your normal routine, it just seems like it's so much constantly getting up, doing this, going to work, dealing with family, and also doing your caregiving responsibilities. So I want you to start seeking out strategies for self-care and finding a balance and actually accessing mental health or even support services to maintain your well being. You want to start looking into what your company has to offer, even though if you're a federal worker, an employee, you still have access to some of those benefits. What they call like employee assistant program, or they might call it an employee assistant program, some type of program that would actually help you out with your finances. They might even have like a stress free environment. So if you just want to go in there just to kind of sleep, not sleep, but close your eyes and just really relax, double check with your work to see if that's available to you, because sometimes that's all you need to kind of reset your body. You need to reset your juices, your flow. Like, what is it that's causing you this pain that can kind of help you out? So before we get to number three, which is the third one, we'll play small little trivia for you all that you probably already know. And make sure y'all hit the like button. Thank you, Lisa. Like, you always coming through with the thumbs up. I love it. Thank you so much for that. Let's go on and go with the little commercial. Mm, the thing about it, like, since I'm looking at this view, it's a little different. So I gotta get used to it all. Here we go. Let's play. See if we can play it. All right. So hopefully y'all were able to get that answer. For those of you who listen to the audio, yeah, you gotta have to watch that one back. So, one of the things that we want to start talking about is how in the world can we get to this last third question, which talks about the best approaches to organize care and health safety for aging parents. The reason why this is an important question that you need to ask yourself, especially for the sandwich generation, is because that many sandwich generations want to know how to assess and modify the home environment to ensure the safety for elderly loved ones. Now, you got to think about it like, you have in the bathroom, you have those metal bars so they can hold on to themselves, especially when the legs get weaker if they haven't been using them well. And some of the muscles, they kind of tense up without them even knowing, and they're really trying. Then you got to think about how you're going to have a sit down area for the shower if you don't have a tub. What does that look like? Is your house actually fitted so they can actually walk around on one level? If you have two levels, are your handrails set up? Do you have handrails on both sides so they can hold themselves up and hoist themselves up the steps? Or did you decide to make one of the living spaces in your, I would say, you got the family room and the living room. Did you turn your living room into a living space for them, or did you turn your family room into a living space for them? What does that look like? Is all their clothes washing available on that same level? These are the things that, as you're getting older, how are you actually going to take care of your parents inside your home or even in their home? These are very important conversations that you need to have with your parents. or your loved ones on what they really need. But also doing that, you start thinking about how is that going to impact your child's interaction with them, as far as respecting them to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do in that particular thing. So you got to start thinking about, coordinating with healthcare services that are nearby. How can they actually show up for maybe even an hour just to make sure they're getting that physical activity? What are you planning for that long term elder care? Do they have enough in their retirement accounts to actually handle that? Are you yourself saving up enough for when you get to that level of health declining? What are you doing now to improve your health as we drink? Cheers. Um, are you cutting back on as much alcohol as you're having? Or are you drinking more? I'm drinking along with you. This is my social drink, by the way. So this is all it is for me. I social drink. I don't drink all the time. Majority of the time, I'm having water. And if I'm not having water, I'm more than likely having some type of like smoothie to some degree. So that's one of the things that I'm doing. I used to be someone who would party hard on the weekends every Friday. Sometimes we'll start Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm at a bar, partying up or at a club, you know, doing my thing. And mind you, I had a lot less hair and I was just had my hats on and my drinking and just having an awesome time. But now that I'm getting older, I can't relive those days. What the past is the past. I'm here now, so I got to take care of my health. And it's funny when you get over 40, it just kind of life just kind of looks a little different, but it also moves a lot faster in a sense where it's like a day doesn't feel like a day anymore. It feels like maybe 3 hours, 4 hours sometimes of what you can actually remember and the activities that you've done. So I want you to start taking note and write a journal to kind of document all the good things that you've done. But before you go to bed, talk about all the things that you want to not that you want to accomplish the next day, but talk about the things that you did not accomplish before you go to bed. Studies show that people who actually write down what they did not do the night before actually gets better sleep than the people who write down what they want to do the next day. Because if you think about it, you have to see you have to start thinking about one of the things that you want to get done. You have to start thinking about what it is that uh, you have done already. And it's like it's a lot of brain power just to do that. So just think about the things that you haven't done today. Write that down on the notebook and then keep that moving. So let's go to the comments. Hey, let's go on and cheers. Cheers to you, Lisa. Let's see. You said I'm editing and having a Diet Coke. Sounds like a good drink. I mean, you can live with that. As long as you're happy with it. You like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like how they normally say. And you also said I've been busy being a mom for the last couple of decades. Yeah, salute to you because that is not easy. And especially I'm not sure if you have the father involved in that situation to kind of help you out either financially or even emotionally to be there to kind of say like, you know what, hey, I got our child while you go do what you need to do. If you need to go shopping, go do your thing, have your alone time. And I get it. I don't have any kids. I don't plan on having any kids. So this is my gift to the world. And so I'm trying to take care of it as much as I can. And I will do whatever I can to kind of keep this afloat to make sure that it continues to add impact to you, not just you, Lisa, but the world, you, the general you, because one of the things is that we live to be a contribution to society, and God put us on earth to really be a builder. What are we building? What are we solving? What problems are we solving when we out here living life? Are we being that person or that support person for the loved ones? Are we being that support person for a random person on the street? Meaning I can just say hi and that could actually make their day. Or even taking time out, like that's one of the things I've been doing this year is trying to meet every person that said it's like, hey, they wanted to meet me. I'll try to schedule something and we can just meet for lunch or meet for a bite to eat and then whatever. Or I'll hang out in the state for a little bit, depending if you're in another state. And I'll just go sightseeing, but I still got a chance to see you. So that's one of the things that I'm really focusing on this year is being present, keeping my word, and really showing up. So having that understanding of what it is that what values that I have for myself and what I want to give back to people is really try to be there for them from even if it's just a short term. I want to make sure that that is something that solidifies that unity. Now you'd be like, okay, Anthony, we've been talking about as far as making these connections and so forth and so on. How does this equate to finances? It doesn't. But if you want to put a monetary value on the connections that you make and that you're keeping, there is unlimited amount of value that you can actually grant somebody, because one of the things is that you shouldn't have a monetary relationship with someone. And if it is, that's either an employee or an employer or even a business partner. It's not a true relationship because you're constantly looking for the give and take side of the house. Now, a lot of times I do things because I don't expect money from it, but if it comes, it comes. When it comes to even with me taking photos. So I took photos of the conference that I was at Afros and Audio. I was like, hey, I'm already here. Let me just do this for free. And then I was like, well, because I already took some photos from another event that I was at in Georgia. So I was in Atlanta helping out my good friend Nia, because she's just started her brand new conference. And I was like, sure, I can be a photographer. Let me go ahead on and whip out my camera. And then see how everything goes. So let me see if I can share it. To let y'all know, like I think I'm done with all the three questions. So the main thing is just to wrap up what those three questions is before I go into another topic. Number one question is, how can I manage the financial strain of supporting two generations? Number two, how do I prevent caregiver burnout and manage emotional stress? And number three, what are the best approaches to organizing care and home safety for aging parents? And those are the three questions that you need to ask yourself, that all sandwich generation people that need answers. And those are the things. I can't give you answers, but if you have specific questions, I can try to find specific resources for you. So if you have those questions, please put them in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, leave those in the chat area and I'll try to get back to those. Now, I know, Lisa, you gave me a lot of stuff to talk about and I appreciate you. Again, this is just something that I had to talk about because I did not expect this furlough to be going on for so long. I think at this point, I might just have to be surprised like everybody else when the furlough isn't here. But I think next week I'm going to do a deep dive into your questions that you had, or at least particular show topics, so that we can go ahead on and start making this work. Now, I didn't realize it's already 30 minutes in, 35 minutes in. So let me share my screen because I want to share with y'all my new Flickr account. Let's see what it looks like because I'm doing a vertical view. Ugh, it does not work. Lisa, how do you even make this work for you? Because this sucks, honestly. Like, I don't even think you do. I think you gave up on it, on trying to make it work. Because you did say it's pretty tough. Let me see if I can zoom in. Would this zooming in work? And no, it doesn't. Okay. But anyway, I did photography for 2 events, and one of them was for Thrive 360, and it's a really awesome event. These are all the photos that I've taken during that event. This was actually a pretty cool shot. I was trying to take a photo of like my hand holding the phone, taking a picture of her at the same time. I thought that was pretty cool. Trying out some new lenses, trying out some new things. So if for any reason that you're looking to um, get a photographer or you need a photographer, just let me know. Okay. Let's see. What else we got? I think that is mostly it for the show. I'm gonna keep it short and tight today. Don't want to waste your time. We had our drinks. We had our 3 questions. Man, and we were really rolling today. Okay. So with that being said, I don't have anything additional unless y'all have some questions for me. Let's see, I'll give about a couple minutes because I know it's a delay if you want to type this out. And that's about it, people. I mean, shucks, I gotta finish this drink. So, what's to come? Y'all been worrying about what's to come. I started with photography. I showed the photos, but I started a photography. I guess say not really a business, but just I'm doing it on the side. It's something fun. I know I should be editing episodes and stuff like that, so I will be taking a break from podcasting. But I have a backlog that's up until about March of next year. So, with that being said, you're gonna see a lot of posts from me. Stay locked in because I have a lot of great episodes to come. And I noticed there aren't too many of y'all here because I wanted to do a giveaway, but it seems like I'll do a giveaway on I think it's the 18th of November. Let me double check my calendar here. It is the 13th of November. So I'll be creating the artwork and everything like that this week so that I'll be advertising that. You'll be talking with the great Julian L. Clark. And she actually helped people build confidence. Now, not just confidence, okay, yeah, I got confidence in buying stuff or making money, but in confidence in your everyday life, in the confidence in you, really trying to figure out who you are as a person and really figuring out what it is that you're lacking and how can you improve on that. So that is where she resides in and where it actually makes the most impact. So that's the reason why I want her on the show. So we'll be doing a live show talking about that on the 13th. There will definitely be a book giveaway. I'll be giving away her book, and also I'll be giving away an additional book as well for Rakim Sabri. Recently had a fire in his home. So, with that being said, I do want to support him in any means necessary. And even if you just win the raffle, that is still support of him and making sure that he gets the financial help that he needs during this time of devastation in his life, or I guess you could say trauma, to kind of deal with the whole house being burnt down. So, just imagine that you have your whole life in your house and fire is set ablaze. how would you feel? What would you be going through right now? Who would you contact? Is all of your stuff backed up in other places outside your home, just in case there is a fire? What other avenues do you have to actually make income or make things meet? Because, you know, um, how can I say? It makes life a little tough to kind of go through such an emergency without, I guess you could say, planning for it, because that's why it's called an emergency or an accident, like, or a surprise in your life. And so that is something that is going to be very impactful. And I want you to think about it. So if there was something tragic happening today, are you fully equipped to handle the situation emotionally, but still manage things logistically so that things can happen? And I think that is something that you need to start thinking about. Let's see. Lisa, you said, I think it's been months. When are you coming back on my show? Lisa, yes, it has been some months. Well, let's set up a time. I need to figure out, because I know you don't have like an intake form, so we can just schedule something. So just let me know, because you're mostly free on Sundays. I'm free on Sundays because obviously I'm there with you. So let's plan a Sunday when you're not having a guest, and let's make it happen. You have my email. You got my search. You got my phone. You got everything. Just contact me. I'll come back on. Just let me know what's a good time. All right. Well, I think this is going to be it. Thank you all for allowing me to share my story, share my new photography adventure, and then allow me. And if you want to check out my photography, I'm gonna start putting it up on 28, like 286 pixels. That is my handle for Instagram. So I'll be posting most of my photos there. If you just want to check out, what I'm doing. So check me out. I'm not sure if I'm gonna turn into a full business yet, but for right now, it's just kind of a place where I can put my stuff that's outside of podcasting. I just want to put all my photos over there, like that. I take cameras and stuff like that. Even though some people was thinking like I should just call it ATW photos, but I'm not sure yet. Right now, it's just going to be 286 pixels. I like the name. It's pretty cool. And it doesn't say photos on it, but pixels, photos, it's display. You can make it work. Let's see. You're taking shots. Not fancy. I mean, Lisa, I have a lot of systems in place because my calendar gets full. My life is happening. I'm trying a lot. Okay. I'm just trying to make it happen. All right. Well, I appreciate you. Enjoy your Diet Coke, and I'll enjoy my Jose Cuervo. All right. Y'all be out. Peace. And play my outro.